At the same time, Arusha is the gateway to some of the world's most iconic tourism attractions, including Serengeti National Park, Ngorongoro Conservation Area, Mount Kilimanjaro, Tarangire National Park, and the Lake Manyara National Park, to mention a few. This makes Arusha not only a center for diplomacy, but also one of Africa's leading tourism and conference destinations. Dear participants, Tanzania today stands at a historic moment of economic transformation under the visionary leadership of Her Excellency Dr. Samia Suluhu Hassan, the President of the United Republic of Tanzania, and our country has continued to undertake bold reforms aimed at improving the investment climate, strengthening infrastructure, expanding industrial production, and position Tanzania as a competitive investment destination in Africa. Dear participants, Tanzania is also strategically located along the Indian Ocean and serves as a gateway to a regional market of more than 300 million people through the East African Community and the Southern African Development Community. Our vision is very clear: to transform Tanzania into a modern industrial and export-oriented economy while ensuring inclusive and sustainable development. Dear participants, Tanzania's long-term economic transformation is guided by the Tanzania Vision 2050, which aims to transform the country into an upper middle income and a high income economy driven by industrialization, innovation, productivity, and the private sector-led growth. The private sector is expected to contribute 70% of the growth toward achieving a $1 trillion economy by 2050. To achieve this, the government is committed to strengthening the private sector through the development of supportive laws, strategies, and policies, while also enhancing the capacity of the national private sector apex body to effectively advance private sector priorities. Ladies and gentlemen, the vision identifies key transformative sectors that will drive Tanzania's future economy, including agriculture, agro-industrialization, mining and mineral beneficiation, manufacturing and industrial development, tourism and hospitality, construction and real estate, the blue economy, energy development, financial services, sports, creative entertainment industries. It also highlights key drivers of economic growth, including transport and logistics, energy, science and technology, ICT and innovation, research and development, and the frontier technologies. Ladies and gentlemen, this vision too reflects Tanzania's commitment to building a diversified, resilient, and a globally competitive economy. Tanzania is among the fastest growing economies in Africa, supported by strong macroeconomic fundamentals, predictable investment business policies, political stability, strategic reforms, abundant natural resources, and a growing consumer market. Dear participants, we therefore invite our colleagues, particularly Russian investors, not only to invest in Tanzania's current opportunities, but also to become long-term strategic partner in Tanzania's future transformation agenda. Ladies and gentlemen, investing and doing business in Tanzania means partnering with a country that has a clear vision, strong leadership, strategic geographical positioning, and a long-term commitment to sustainable economic growth and industrial development. It is a vast, the market is growing, and the future is very promising. Dear participants, I'm also pleased to note that since the Tanzania-Russia Business and Investment Forum that was held in 2024 at the Serena Hotel in Dar es Salaam, we have continued to witness growing interest from Russian companies exploring investment and business opportunities in Tanzania. This growing momentum demonstrates the increasing confidence of the Russian private sector in Tanzania investment climate, economic potential, and the long-term growth prospects. We highly appreciate the Russian people who are here today for their trust and a commitment to doing business, but also investing in our country. Dear participants, today's strong participation by more than 120 Russian companies is a clear indication that Tanzania-Russia economic relations are entering a new phase of a deeper commercial engagement, strategic partnerships, and a long-term investment cooperation. This therefore leaves a strong and positive mark on our society. Dear participants, Tanzania offers enormous investment opportunities, as previously mentioned, and we see significant potential for expanded cooperation with the Russian Federation, particularly in mining technology, fertilizer production, vocational education, industrial manufacturing, energy, aviation, agriculture and mechanization, ICT, pharmaceutical, and the technology transfer. This calls, therefore, upon Russian investors to explore investment opportunities, and our doors remain open to their support and collaboration. Dear participants, I also like to highlight another important opportunity for investors. As you may be aware that Tanzania, together with Kenya and Uganda, will co-host the 2027 Africa Cup of Nations, AFCON 2027, one of the largest sporting events on the African continent. This presents enormous investment opportunities, including sports infrastructure, hospitality and hotels, real estate development, transportation and logistics, ICT and broadcasting, aviation services, and entertainment and tourism infrastructure, just to mention a few. We therefore invite Russian investors and companies to partner with the Tanzania private sector in leveraging these emerging opportunities that are linked to AFCON 2027 and the Tanzania broader economic transformation agenda. Dear participants, the active participation at this forum, bringing together, as I said before, more than 120 Russian companies, over 200 Tanzanian companies, and more than 400 delegates, demonstrate the growing commitment from both sides of Russia and Tanzania to deepen economic cooperation and build sustainable business partnership. As Tanzania government, we remain fully committed to creating conducive, transparent, and predictable investment environment that supports private sector growth and long-term partnership. Through the Tanzania Investment and Special Economic Zones Authority, TISEZA, and the Zanzibar Investment Promotion Agency, ZIPA, and our one-stop facilitation center, investors are assured of efficient facilitation and the government support throughout the investment process. Ladies and gentlemen, before now I conclude my remark, I wish to say that the future for Tanzania-Russia cooperation is very bright, and we believe that the engagement taking place here today will open new avenues for trade, investment, technology transfer, tourism cooperation, development to friendly nations. I therefore encourage all participants to make full use of the business sessions and the networking engagements organized during this forum. With these very few remarks, it is now my honor that Tanzania-Russia Business and Investment Forum is officially open, and I wish you all fruitful discussions, productive meetings, and successful partnerships. Karibuni sana Tanzania, asanteni sana kwa kunisikiliza. Thank you very much. Kazi na utu, asanteni sana.
Ladies and gentlemen, please let's get up on our feet and give our guest of honor, Honorable Dr. Pius Chaya, a hand of applause as he gets onto his seat. Tafadhali tusimame mabibi na mabwana. Asante sana. Mheshimiwa mgeni rasmi, makofi yaliyoshiba tafadhali. Asante sana. You may take your seats. Thank you very much for those very important remarks, Honorable. We have now heard the welcome, we have heard from the private sector's perspective, as well as the government's framing. Ladies and gentlemen, we now move to the core investment and trade segment of the forum. Mabibi na mabwana, beginning with an overview of Tanzania's investment climate and opportunities available for Russian investors and partners. So this is how this next segment is going to operate, ladies and gentlemen. Like I said, we're going to go into an overview of the investment climate in Tanzania and opportunities for Russia. We're going to first start to hear from TISEZA, the Tanzania Investment and Special Economic Zones Authority, and we're going to hear on the overview of investment climate and opportunities in Tanzania mainland, and then we will go into overview of investment climate and opportunities in Zanzibar. Zanzibar, ladies and gentlemen, and that will be from ZIPA, the Zanzibar Investment Promotion Authority. Right after we are done from there, we will move on swiftly to an overview of trade and investment opportunities between Russia and Tanzania. We will get to hear from our Russian counterparts as well as TanTrade. Mabibi na mabwana, without further ado, please join me in giving the General Director of the Tanzania Investment and Special Economic Zones Authority, TISEZA, Mr. Gilead Terry, a round of applause as he heads to the stage.
Good afternoon. Before the presentation, I would like to play a short video clip that will introduce to our Russian colleagues what Tanzania is all about. And I think once you see, we can start talking business.
Где будет ваш бизнес? Где будет ваш бизнес через 50 лет? Есть страна, которая задала курс далеко вперед. Земля видения, молодости и амбиций. Это Танзания, ваша страна для отдыха. Где будет ваш бизнес через 50 лет? Есть страна, которая задала курс далеко вперед. Земля видения, молодости и амбиций. Это Танзания, ваша страна для отдыха. В 2025 году Танзания запустила свою программу «Видение 2050 года». Смелый план для конкурентоспособной, инклюзивной, индустриализированной экономики. Экономики, которая охватывает устойчивое развитие, технологии и процветание для всех. Танзания – это ворота в Восточную и Южную Африку. Благодаря логистике мирового класса и новой инфраструктуре мы соединяем ваш бизнес с более чем 1 миллиардом 400 миллионами человек, с более чем 94% проникновения мобильных денег, цифровым банкингом и поддержкой венчурного капитала. Танзания инвестирует в людей, которые инвестируют в идеи. ТИЗЕСА, Управление по инвестициям и специальным экономическим зонам Танзании объединяет все это. Один шаг, полностью цифровой, быстрый и дружественный к инвесторам. Под руководством ее превосходительства, доктора президента Самии Сулуху, Хасан Танзания строит глобальные партнерства, осуществляет значительные реформы и приветствует устойчивые инвестиции. Где будет ваш бизнес в 2050 году? Выберите страну с планом. Выберите страну, строящую будущее сегодня. Танзания – ваша страна для старта. Ваше будущее сейчас.
Thank you. So I will spend a few minutes just to give you an overview of two things. One, how the environment of doing business in our country is. And the second part, to tell you about some of the investment opportunities that could be useful for some of the people that are in this room. So the first thing that we will offer you, and when you go out of this room, you will find our desk, is a one-stop facilitation center. Our office is responsible to help all investors that come to Tanzania to get all permits, business registration, and completion of starting and operating a business from one office. So when you come to do business in Tanzania, through our office you can register your company, you can get land for investment, you can get your electricity, water, connectivity, you can get your work permit and residence permit all through one-stop facilitation center. So this will make it very easy for all investors that wish to come and do business in Tanzania. We pride ourselves to be a very unique country across the continent for different reasons. One of the first things that we do quite well, we have a very progressive leader who is business friendly, Her Excellency Dr. Samia Suluhu Hassan. And that investment climate is backed up not only by strong public-private partnership laws, but also fiscal and monetary stability, peace and stability of the country, but also the location that we are in within the East African community makes Tanzania a gateway country into the region. We pride ourselves to be part of the East African community and the Southern African Development Community, which means if you invest in Tanzania, you can operate from Somalia to South Africa as one common market. And that is something very unique for this country. So when you think of Tanzania, don't think only as a place to come do business and invest, but also think as a hub where you can operate from our country to all these markets in the neighborhood. We think natural resources are also a critical aspect of the investment opportunity that exists. Rare earth elements are quite abundant in our country. We also have the second largest known deposit globally of graphite. Transition materials transition materials such as nickel, cobalt, and helium are widely abundant and available in our country. We have also a very strong agricultural base, which gives us not only food sufficiency within the country, but also quite sizable export opportunity, including crops such as cashew, coffee, which could be quite useful in global markets. We have at least two categories of investors. One category of investor is what we recognize as a regular investor, and it costs you around $500,000 to be qualified to be an investor in Tanzania. But we also have strategic investors, and strategic investors is anyone who can invest over $50 million in our country. The two difference is that when you're a regular investor, you can pretty much start your investment at any point in time, and there's a standard list of incentives that we provide, and we will show it to you in our next slide. But when you're a strategic investor and you invest over $50 million in our economy, you are able to negotiate some of your incentives with the government of Tanzania, which is pretty unique to your business model. So I'll give you one example, and I will show you the pictures at the end. We have the first largest banana plantation from a Russian investor who is based in Dubai in our country. $150 million US. It's the first and one of a kind. Because it is the first kind of investment in our country, you don't expect the kinds of incentives that we have will be applicable to this project. So the investors in this project, they can come to government and ask for unique incentives. For example, they need work permits for their experts, because we don't have perhaps a lot of experts in banana plantations because we don't have any. And these are unique opportunities that do not exist in any other African country except Tanzania. It is the only country in Africa where you can negotiate a specific set of incentives between the investor and the government. So we also have export processing zones investors. So for example, any Russian investor that wants to invest in Tanzania and export 100% of your product outside the East African community, you qualify to be in our export processing zones. And in these export processing zones, we provide a number of incentives, and one of them is 10 years of zero corporate tax. So pretty much every profit you make is yours for anyone who wants to manufacture in our country for an export market, including to the Russian market. These are some of the incentives that we provide for our investors that come to invest. One, all your capital can come into the country without taxes. All your machineries and raw materials, they come into our economy duty-free as well. And the corporate tax for anyone who goes into specific sectors such as automobiles, pharmaceutical, leather products is reduced. You have either a 33% discount to 20% or 66% discount of corporate tax from 30% to around 10%. We also offer automatic 10 work permits for new investors. So if you have your own investment and you would like your CFO or your chief operating officer to come and actually oversee the early stages of your investment, we don't have a problem with any investors when it comes to work permit as well as residence permit. These are some of the other incentives that we provide also for investors. We'd like to, and this again, for 20% for the first 5 years if you're going into automobile, but again, 20% if you go into things like textile, leather, pharmaceuticals, and the rest of it. These are some of the incentives that we provide for Russian investors. Anyone, and this also includes Tanzanian investors in the room, if anyone can put up a factory within 12 months from the first day of construction to the first day of commission and operation, we knock off 33 years of your lease payment. So when you lease land from us, we give you either 33, 66, or 99 years. If you can put up a factory within 12 months, we will give you the first 33 years lease free. You will only pay a small service fee, and we would like as many people to go into manufacturing as we can. We also give you support within the regional market through our embassies and supporting your investment. We have our zone offices as well that help you on your day-to-day operations when it comes to permits and compliance. But we also have other incentives, including VAT exemption and duty exemption, depending on which kind of enterprise you are going to work into. Things like distribution trucks, they enjoy 75% reduction of import duty. So this is some of the list of incentives that we provide depending on which cluster of market you would want to serve. If you want to operate within the East African community, or you want to use Tanzania as a hub for manufacturing for the greater Africa or the global market. We pride ourselves to be a very unique economy within Africa. And I would like our Russian counterparts to understand. Tanzania is quite different from a lot of other African countries. If you look into the economy of many African countries, you would find 90% of their export is one particular product, or 50% of their export is one particular product. The Tanzanian economy is very diverse. 20 to 25% of our GDP is agriculture. So we have quite sizable agriculture production, ranging from cotton, coffee, cashew, to horticulture like avocados, and again, as I've said, banana investment that is coming up at the moment, 7,000 hectares of the biggest contiguous farm of banana plantation anywhere else in the world. But we have 10% of our economy being in extractive. We have, as I mentioned, quite sizable mining deposits, but we also quite a proud investment in uranium from a Russian company, Rosatom. We also have 10% of our economy being in logistics, because our port is used by around 8 countries in the nearby region. There is opportunity in logistics, storage, warehousing, and transportation as well, around 10% of our GDP. 30% of our country is reserved land as national parks or game reserve. So tourism is big. Some of you, you're here in Arusha, is our best tourist city. You will see Serengeti, you will see Ngorongoro, you will see Mount Kilimanjaro. And this is also a big opportunity here. What that means is that our economy has opportunity in many different areas. Tanzania has 10 regions with over 1 million people each. And the rapid population growth creates a lot of urbanization and a lot of opportunities in real estate sector. So these are some of the opportunities that we have. We also share a proud moment where our country will host African Cup of Nations next year, collectively within the East African community. And we understand that our Russian colleague, not many years ago, hosted the World Cup. So these are some of the opportunities that we have laid in front for you. We believe that through our special economic zones across the country, there will be a good opportunity. But manufacturing, some of the 10 opportunities that we would like to lay in front of you today. Number one is manufacturing. There has been about 200% increase in some of the processed foods in our country for the last couple of years. We think that manufacturing is the future. Building materials, food products, logistics. We are having a lot of assembly of motor vehicles, motorcycles, and mobility products within our economy. So if there is number one opportunity in our country, that will be manufacturing. Number two will be agro-processing. And in agro-processing, we have at least 4% growth of this market year on year. We estimate export revenue to be somewhere between $3.5 billion to $4 billion annually, and it's an important area. And as I've mentioned, we have a variety of crops that we can produce across the region. Opportunity number three will be on blue economy, ranging from fisheries, exploration in the ocean, deep sea fishing, but also other offshore renewable energy. And any companies that are interested in this area, this is a big area of interest for us as well as for Zanzibar. We think that financial services is also a good opportunity. It is somewhere between $20 to $26 billion of value of assets by the year 2024-2025. We are seeing somewhere between 5 to 6% annual growth. And this is an area that I understand some of my colleagues in the room will be interested to talk to you. I have seen my colleague Nelson from NMB. If possible, if you're there, if you can stand up. Our colleagues from CRDB. So these are our guys in finance, and if you have a moment, please have a time to have a direct chat with them if you have interest in the financial services. Service sector, also very important. As I've mentioned, logistics of the ports. We see ICT, things like education, healthcare services, quite a big investment. We are very proud to hear that there is a company that is interested in railway logistics that is here with us, and I will be looking forward to our meeting today, this afternoon. This sector is growing between 30 to 40% every year. 3 days ago, I met top 100 CEOs in Tanzania, in Dar es Salaam, and one of the CEOs mentioned that they are putting up a new assembly plant for tractor heads. And they said they estimate annual demand for new tractor heads, for new transit trucks, is 15,000 trucks a year. That's the demand for Tanzania. There is no any other country except South Africa that has that kind of demand annually. So the growth of the logistics center is quite big, quite sizable, and it's not going to slow down anytime soon. Creative industries, sports and innovation, as I mentioned, are quite a sizable fit next year to host the AFCON, and we are open to anyone who has interest within the creative industry. Tourism and hospitality, I've touched upon it. We see at least 17% of it in GDP, and we see at least somewhere between 8 to 10% annual growth of this sector every year. Mining and extractive, again, 10% of our GDP and big opportunity. Construction and real estate development, and this one I will extend it to things like railway across the country. Again, this figure of around 3 million houses deficit every year. I met the CEO of our mortgage refinancing company, and he says the demand could be up to 8 million annually. So we have, for the last 5 years, have had $500 million of Russian investments in our country. And this is not counting Russian investors that go through third-party country. We're not counting Kazakhstan, as you know. Some of your colleagues are based in Kazakhstan. They are based in Dubai, and we are not counting them. So this is directly from Russia for the last 4 or 5 years, $500 million that has come into our economy. Now, I would like to share 2 main points before I finish. One is the growth of investment in our country. We are not surprised to see this big delegation from Russia today, because this is the trend in Tanzania now. Everyone is coming to Dar es Salaam, everyone is coming to Tanzania, and we are happy to receive you. So as much as we welcome you, we would like to let you know you are not the only person that we are receiving. There are quite a big interest for investors to come into Tanzania. As you see, 2021, when Her Excellency took office, one of the best private sector presidents we have ever seen in our country. We jumped from around 200 projects a year. We are doing 900 projects a year back to back. We jumped from $3 billion worth of investment a year to $12 billion worth of investment last year. So Tanzania is booming. This is the place where things are happening, and you should come. If you don't come, your brothers from the east or from the west will be here. And we would like to continue working with the people of Russia because we have a very long, rich history between our two countries. And I would like to make you envious by 2 points. This is the Mantra project. This is in Mkuju River, one of our biggest projects, close to $500 million worth of investment only from this particular project when it will be completed. It was inaugurated by Her Excellency the President last year. And this one is the land that has been cleared. Again, it will be the largest contiguous, like single place, banana plantation in the world. $150 million worth of investment from Russian investors based in the UAE. And this is the kind of investment and businesses that we expect to talk about and have conversations here today. We are very proud to have you. We are very excited to meet you. And we will keep you all day here today for many meetings. You see, a lot of Tanzanians have showed up here today because they want to talk to you. So have a lot of coffee. You're going to be in for a long day. Thank you very much, gentlemen.
Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. Mr. Galia Terry, Director General, TISEZA. Kwa mara nyingine tena makofi. Let's give him a round of applause after that very thorough presentation. If you don't come, the others are coming. So welcome to Tanzania. Ladies and gentlemen, that was an overview of the opportunities from the Tanzania mainland. And right now, we are going to get an overview of the investment climate and opportunities in Zanzibar. This is what we call the Spice Island, ladies and gentlemen. And with that, I'd like to welcome to the stage none other than Mr. Mohammed Maulid Mohammed from the Zanzibar Investment Promotion Authority. Karibu sana. Let's give him a round of applause.
Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Mohammed from the Zanzibar Investment Promotion Authority. I'll be presenting the environment and opportunities of investment in Zanzibar. First of all, I would like to gratitude my brothers from TISEZA. He explained a lot of every introductory remarks about Tanzania and everything what it has. So I'll be presenting a video. It's not short. It's quite 5 minutes to 6 minute video to see what are the opportunities and the investment life and probably in Zanzibar. Thank you. You're welcome.
A land of unparalleled beauty, rich heritage, and endless possibilities, nestled along the sparkling waters of the Indian Ocean. This island is more than just a tropical paradise. It is a dynamic business hub, a gateway to global markets, and a place where investment opportunities are boundless. This is Zanzibar, a place where strategic location meets opportunity. Positioned at the crossroads of Africa, the Middle East and beyond, Zanzibar boasts an international airport with direct access to key global cities and a deep water port that facilitates international trade. As a proud member of the East African community, Zanzibar opens the door to the market of over 500 million people, making it an ideal hub for trade, commerce, and logistics. Adding Testament to its growing economic potential is the Micheweni Special Economic Zone, a bold initiative designed to drive industrialization, innovation, and a large-scale investment in key sectors. With a state-of-art infrastructure, investor-friendly policy, and strategic connectivity, Micheweni is set to become a regional powerhouse for manufacturing, logistics, and trade. The island is on the path towards economic transformation, offering a secure, profitable, and stable environment for investors in diverse sectors. Tourism is a cornerstone of Zanzibar's economy, contributing significantly to its GDP and generating 80% of foreign currency earnings. Over the past 4 years, Zanzibar has welcomed over 2.3 million visitors, and with over 800 hotels and resorts, it is fast becoming one of Africa's top travel destinations. Investing in Zanzibar tourism industry means tapping into a rapidly expanding market with opportunities in luxury beachfront resorts, eco and cultural tourism, health and business tourism. As an archipelago, Zanzibar offers exclusive opportunities for investors to lease small islands, for high-end tourism, eco-resorts, and private luxury developments. These islands provide a unique chance to create sustainable retreats, marine conservation projects, and niche hospitality ventures, catering to the growing market for exclusive and eco-conscious travel experiences. The blue economy in Zanzibar offers immense untapped potential in sustainable fisheries in aquaculture for food security and exports, maritime trade and port development, and renewable ocean energy projects such as wind and tidal energy, further solidifying Zanzibar's position as a regional logistics hub. Invest in Zanzibar's blue economy for a prosperous and sustainable future. The thriving real estate sector in Zanzibar presents numerous investment opportunities, including luxury residential developments attracting high net worth individuals, mixed-use commercial and retail spaces supporting the island's growing economy, smart city projects and sustainable housing solutions to accommodate the urbanizing population. Zanzibar is fostering industrial growth with exciting opportunities, agro-processing transforming local produce into export-ready goods, pharmaceutical manufacturing to meet both local and regional demands, textile and garment productions, capitalizing on expanding international markets. Zanzibar's manufacturing sector is primed for high returns and long-term growth. Zanzibar is more than just a destination. It is an economic powerhouse in the making. With its strategic location, investor-friendly policies, thriving tourism sector, and the diverse opportunities across sectors, Zanzibar offers a secure, profitable, and visionary environment for global investors.
The revolutionary government of Zanzibar is now welcoming all prospective investors who wish to invest in Zanzibar. It is our expectation that the said investment opportunities, among others, will garner your attention. I assure you that Zanzibar is politically, socially, and economically stable, making it an ideal investment destination. My government is committed to continuing our role to provide a conducive and friendly environment for private investment and business opportunities. We are looking forward to hosting and partnering with you to invest in Zanzibar now. Karibuni sana.
The time to invest in Zanzibar is now.
Thank you.
Explore and invest.
As I say, I will not have a presentation, but finally I have one announcement. On 3rd to 5th of June, Zanzibar will have a Zanzibar Investment Summit. So you are all welcomed. Thank you very much for your time. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Mohammed. Ladies and gentlemen, the time to invest in Zanzibar is now. The time to invest in Tanzania is now. Another hand of applause to that presentation in visual format. Ladies and gentlemen, after that segment, we are moving on swiftly to get an overview of trade and investment opportunities between Russia and Tanzania. And this segment will be divided across 4 speakers. Ladies and gentlemen, we will begin with the president of the Tanzania Friendship Society, followed by TanTrade, followed by the director of the Center of African Studies, National Research University School of Economics, and then the CEO of SK Capital. Ladies and gentlemen, without further ado, we now move into the opportunities between Russia and Tanzania. Mabibi na mabwana, we are moving into the perspective of business from the perspective of the Russia and Tanzania Friendship Society. Mabibi na mabwana, makofi ya kipekee kabisa to the member of the General Council, business ambassador to the United Republic of Tanzania, all Russian public organization Business Russia, and president of the Tanzania Friendship Society. Ladies and gentlemen, makofi ya kipekee kabisa, Bwana Yuri Korobov. Karibu sana. President of the Tanzania Friendship Society.
Всем добрый день. Очень рад поприсутствовать сегодня на этой площадке. Хотел выразить в первую очередь слова благодарности принимающей стороне, правительству Танзании, экономическому блоку, также экономическому блоку Российской Федерации, которая приложила к этому тоже немало усилий. Сегодня прозвучало довольно-таки много слов, прозвучало очень много цифр. И
that I want to talk and I want to share with you guys. So I'll try to save time and talk in a very short way. In around 10 years, the investment in Tanzania has been a very good work from the Tanzanian organization and the government. By creating a good environment for all investments or investors to Tanzania. From the prospects of agriculture and mining has been very interesting. Another factor that is very interesting is the blue economy. So the most important is also the agreement that you're going to have that's going to be signed between the two countries. we hope that on this agreement that we are going to have a good relationship in terms of operations. On the agricultural sector, we have always have questions on about fertilizers and so from our side, from our Russia government side, we want to welcome Russian partners and Russian companies who are willing to invest also into the agricultural and logistics of Russian fertilizer into the Tanzanian market. It's a big work, but we are ready to enhance and start. So today they have shown us on the screen so many products that are from Russia to Tanzania. You cannot say it's out of balance, but it's a good perspection on the growth of Russia to the Tanzanian market. Also, from your side, in Tanzania, there is a very high demand in terms of coffee, transportation. I also understand that the horticulture, the flower business is also good from Tanzania. And Tanzania has a very good potential in that. On this day, so on this day, I'm going to talk about also about education. This year, our country added up to 500 to 600 free education to foreign students from Tanzania and the rest of Africa. So the plan is to upgrade it up to 1,000 people. And also I want to give my big thanks to the ministers. And
нашими странами он растет друг к другу. В качестве ответного жеста я хотел бы пригласить танзанийский бизнес, представителей власти на Петербургский экономический форум, который пройдет в этом году, в июне, в Санкт-Петербурге. Я искренне был бы рад видеть вашу делегацию на этом форуме.
So we have a forum that's going to be happening in June, and I really welcome all the delegates that are here today. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. Asante sana, Mr. Yuri. Ladies and gentlemen, we are now preparing to receive our ministers in the hall. We are now preparing to receive the ministers, so we are going to put a little bit of a pause in the overview of opportunities available in Allow me to take this off. We're going to put a pause in the overview of opportunities in both, or the looking at the different investment opportunities between Russia and Zanzibar, and we're preparing to receive our ministers in the hall this afternoon. Our ministers will present their remarks right before lunch, and then the B2B sessions. Right after the presentations from our ministers, we will move into following up on our agenda as it was. Ladies and gentlemen, to join us this afternoon, we will have the Honorable Professor Kitila Mkumbo, who is the Minister of State, President's Office Planning and Investment for the United Republic of Tanzania. With him will be Honorable Mahmoud David Kombo, who is the Minister of Foreign Affairs and East African Cooperation of the United Republic of Tanzania. Ladies and gentlemen, we will also have Honorable Maxim Reshetnikov, who is the Minister of Economic Development of the Russian Federation. Ladies and gentlemen, with them also we will have Honorable Ngwaru Jumanne Magembe, who is the Deputy Minister of Foreign Affairs and East Africa Cooperation of the United Republic of Tanzania, as well as other dignitaries. Ladies and gentlemen, as our ministers walk into the hall this afternoon, I will ask again that we stand up and give them a round of applause. This high-level dignitary, this delegation is really testament to the political will, testament to the intentionality and commitment to make sure that this is not simply a conversation, but then there are practical action points that come out of this. Ladies and gentlemen, let's keep engaging dialogue with those on your table as we wait for the ministers to come into the hall. Once again, when they come in, I will ask us all to give them a hand of applause, to stand up on our feet and give them a hearty hand of applause before we start listening and hearing from them. Karibuni sana, I will be right back.
kujenga uchumi wa taifa letu kupitia uwekezaji na biashara, tunajenga kesho iliyo imara. Nguvu ya Watanzania kwa pamoja kuleta mabadiliko ya kweli. Uwekezaji Tanzania, tunasonga mbele kwa pamoja. Sekta ya umma, sekta binafsi, kwa maendeleo ya taifa. Uwekezaji Tanzania, tunajenga nyumba moja kwa ustawi wa kila mmoja na kwa nchi yetu Tanzania. Uwekezaji Tanzania ni msingi kwa uchumi.
Ladies and gentlemen, may I please ask you to get up on your feet as we give our ministers a hand of applause. Makofi leo Shiba tafadhali. Ladies and gentlemen, with us this afternoon, A hearty hand of applause, Honorable Mahmoud Abid Kombo, Minister, MP, Minister of Foreign Affairs and East African Cooperation of the United Republic of Tanzania. Makofi kwake mabibi na mabwana. Also, ladies and gentlemen, Honorable Maxim Reshednikov, Minister of Economic Development of the Russian Federation. Ladies and gentlemen, let's keep applauding. Also, we have Honorable Professor Kitila Alexander Mkumbo, MP, Minister of State, President's Office, Planning and Investment, United Republic of Tanzania. Entering the hall right now, ladies and gentlemen, Honorable Mahmoud Abid Kombo, another hand of applause. MP, Minister of Foreign Affairs and East African Cooperation of the United Republic of Tanzania. And with them, ladies and gentlemen, as you take your seats, we also have Mr. Peter Ivanov, Chairman of Russia-Tanzania Business Council. Asante sana. Another hearty round of applause all together for the incredible partnership that has made this happen. Mabibi na mabwana, ladies and gentlemen, at this point I would like to welcome to the stage to speak with us, ladies and gentlemen, the chairman of Russia-Tanzania Business Council, the CEO, FESCO Transport Group, Director for Logistics, Rosaton State Corporation. Mabibi na mabwana, a hand of applause, Mr. Peter Ivanov. Hello.
Thank you. Dear colleagues, representatives of business communities of Russia and Tanzania, dear partners, our countries share long-standing and stable relations dating back to the period of Tanzania independence. The Soviet Union was among the partners that supported the development of the young state through educational programs, professional trainings, as well as participation in the infrastructure and social projects. Today, Russia and Tanzania countries actively developing trade, economic, and investment cooperation. In 1924, trade turnover between Tanzania and Russia amounted more than $300 million. In 2025, bilateral trade increased by nearly 20%. However, even with the positive dynamics, we clearly see that the potential of cooperation between our countries still significantly exceeds the current trade volumes. Tanzania is a rapidly developing country with a stable political system and significant economic potential. Due to its geographical location, Tanzania serves as a natural transport and economic hub of East Africa, providing access to markets across the region. In addition, population and economic growth are creating steady demands for the development of infrastructure, logistics, and trade. In January 2026, the Russian-Tanzanian Business Council was established under the Chamber of Commerce and Industry of Russian Federation. The Council's objectives to include strengthening business ties, supporting investment projects, reducing infrastructure and administrative barriers, and creating sustainable channels of interaction between business and government. Following the first meeting of Council held in March this year, key areas of the Council activities were identified, covering both traditional sectors of cooperation, fertilizers, energy, and petroleum products, as well as promising new areas like financial technologies, platform solutions, and security-related technologies. The Council already includes leading Russian companies and industry associations such as KAMAZ, Fosagra, Business Russia, WebRF, Sber, Institute for African Studies of Russian Academy of Science, and others. The Council's activities also involve major Russian producers of fertilizers and technological solutions, as well as representatives of banking sector interested in developing cooperation with Tanzania. All in all, around 15 companies. Currently, with the support of Embassy of Tanzania in Russian Federation, we are working on establishing the similar on Tanzanian side. During this visit, we have a number of meetings scheduled with representatives of associations to discuss the potential cooperation, including Tanzanian Chamber of Commerce, Tanzanian Private Business Foundation, Tanzania National Business Council, and the Tanzania Trade Authority. I would also like to express my gratitude to the Embassy of the United Republic of Tanzania in Russian Federations and Ambassador Frederick Ibrahim Kibuta, to the Embassy of Russian Federation in Tanzania and Ambassador Andrei Levontovich Avitisyan, as well as the Ministry of Economic Development of Russian Federation and Minister Maxim Gennadьевич Reshetnikov for their support in strengthening bilateral cooperation and shaping the business agenda. Today we have everything necessary: mutual interest, resources, and understanding. Our task is to transform the potential into real projects and sustainable economic ties. And citing Julius Nyerere, if real development is to take place, the people have to be involved. And I believe that cooperation of our nations will allow this mutual development in the near future. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Ivanov. Ladies and gentlemen, let's give him a hand of applause as he heads to his seat. Chairman of the Russia-Tanzania Business Council. Mabibi na mabwana, mheshimiwa mgeni rasmi kwa ruhusa yako, I would like to give a special recognition, ladies and gentlemen, to the Executive Secretary, National Planning Commission, also the Permanent Secretary, President's Office Planning. Mabibi na mabwana, a hand of applause, Dr. Tausi Kida. Asante sana. Ladies and gentlemen, we would like to now invite to the stage to speak with you all the Minister of State President's Office, Planning and Investment of the United Republic of Tanzania. Mabibi na mabwana, a hearty round of applause to Honorable Professor Kitila Alexandra Mkumbo, MP. Karibu sana. Kitanzania tunamsindikiza na makofi. In Tanzanian fashion, we welcome him with a hand of applause all the way to the stage. Karibu sana, mheshimiwa.
Honorable Mahamudu Thabit Kombo, Member of Parliament and Minister for Foreign Affairs and the East African Cooperation, Honorable friend Mr. Maximo Reshetnikov, the Minister for Economic Development of the Russian Federation, our permanent secretaries, Dr. Kida and Dr. Msemwa, but also Mr. Pavel, the Director of the Department for the Bilateral Cooperation of the Russian Federation, whom together with the two PSs have worked very hard on enhancing our technical cooperation. Our two ambassadors, Mr. Kivuta and Andrei. And of course, the most important people who are here, the leaders of our business communities. And let me take this opportunity as a begin to very specifically and in a very special way congratulate the establishment of the Russia-Tanzania Business Council, and for Mr. Ivan for having been elected as therefore the first chairperson of that very important council. I welcome you, your Honorable Minister, Mr. Maxim, and your delegation to Tanzania, and more importantly to this city of Arusha. As I told you earlier, this is a very important city in Tanzania for at least 4 reasons. Firstly, this is our nation's premier tourist safari capital. So if you speak about tourism in Tanzania, and indeed in East Africa, you have to begin by talking of Arusha. It is a very important tourist destination, and this is where tourism begins and ends, indeed. So you'll begin from Arusha, you'll go around East Africa, but you'll have to return to Arusha. Secondly, it is our major diplomatic hub, always referred to as the Geneva of Africa. And the reason for that is that this city houses a number of international organizations, including our very important East African community. Thirdly, Arusha is the historical center for our independence. It is here that the UK signed the document ceding the independence of Tanganyika. So Dar es Salaam only celebrated our independence, but actually the documents for that independence were signed by the UK government here in Arusha. But also it is here in Arusha that our socialist policy was formally declared in the name of Arusha Declaration. And we even have here what is called Azimio Arusha, or Arusha Declaration Museum. If we had time, we would have taken you to the Arusha Museum, which is a special museum for our historical documents, and particularly the Arusha Declaration. And lastly, this is the remaining cultural city in Tanzania. So when we got our independence, a lot of our historical and cultural aspects were somehow dismantled, and they gave way to Kiswahili language, which is our national language. But it is in this city that which continues to preserve their cultural, a lot of their cultural aspects in the name of Maasai. So it is in this city that we have the Maasai, which they preserve the culture, as you saw when you are entering this city. So to us, Arusha is a very important destination. The aim of this forum, which is bringing together the private sector delegations from our two great countries, is to translate and to transform our 60 years of excellent political and diplomatic cooperation into tangible, mutually beneficial economic outcomes for our people. As many people in this room know, Tanzania and Russia, we have had those many years of excellent cooperation. Indeed, the Soviet Union was among the very first countries to recognize the independence of then Tanganyika. The Soviet Union also was among the very few countries that recognized our union between Tanganyika and Zanzibar, forming the United Republic of Tanzania. So there is no doubt about our political ties between these two countries. What we need now is to transform those excellent political diplomatic ties into tangible economic outcomes for our people of the two countries. I want to reaffirm the Tanzania's good business and investment climate. We have a very strong economic growth trajectory. This year, our economy is projected to grow to around 6.1%. Next year, 6.3 to 6.5. It is among the Africa's fastest growing economies. We have the needed political stability and peace. This country is among probably the few African countries that remains politically stable and peaceful. We have had 7 elections, all of them very peaceful transfer of power. Our country is excellently strategically located, giving access to the East African community, as we know, 80 countries, but also to South African Development Community, altogether 14 countries. Those two blocks give us around 300 million in form of capital. We are also very important members of the African Continental Free Trade Area, giving access to around 1.3 billion market in the region. So definitely investing in this country, you'll be investing in Africa. Doing business with Tanzania, you'll be doing business with Africa. Our President, High Excellency Dr. Samia Suluhu Hassan, has championed important reforms to ensure that our business environment continues to be attractive to investors and business people around the world. We are positioning Tanzania as a regional industrial and logistics hub. We want to use our strategic location to ensure that we become a logistics hub, but also through industrial development. We are focused very much on the question of value addition. A lot of areas that are available for cooperation between Russia and Tanzania, and we will discuss some of those, be it in the area of energy and natural resources. As you know, Tanzania is among the few countries in the world which are blessed with mining resources. And the recent World Bank report shows that Tanzania actually ranks number 4 in terms of having access and endowment to mineral resources, including gold, and now widely needed critical mineral resources. Agriculture and food security. As you know, agriculture remains the backbone of the global economy. And we know that Russia is very much experienced in this field and like to work together to ensure that we're able to develop the agricultural sector in Tanzania. Tanzania has around 44 million hectares of arable land, but only about 33% of that one is already cultivated. So there is a huge potential in the sector of agriculture. And the world now needs more food than ever. And Tanzania can feed, Africa can feed the world with the cooperation, with the experience of the Russian companies in that area. Industrial development and manufacturing, especially with the focus on special economic zones. And as we discussed, Tanzania is ready to offer a special economic zone for our ongoing mantra project. And this is very key. As I said, tourism is very important, and we are very happy that now one of the big sources of tourism for Tanzania, both Tanzania mainland and Zanzibar now, is the Russian people. And which is why we are now at a very advanced stage of exploring the possibility of having a direct flight from Dar es Salaam and possibly Kilimanjaro all the way to St. Petersburg and Moscow for that matter, so that we are able to bring the Russian tourism directly from Moscow here to Tanzania. Education, science, and technology is another area that we can have excellent cooperation between Russia and Tanzania. And already, as we know, hundreds of Tanzanians have been trained in Russia, and they continue being trained. Russia offers excellent cooperation in that area. And therefore, we welcome Russian companies to invest in Tanzania, but I believe also the Tanzanian businesses to be able to invest in Russia. And more importantly, to ensure that the Tanzanian products from agriculture, from fisheries, from mining, have access to great Russian markets, so that when Africans visit Russia, they're able to find African products, and particularly Tanzanian products, into the supermarkets in Russia. And I hope that your presence here today, you'll be able to explore those opportunities to enhance businesses between our two countries. As I end, let me repeat again, Tanzania and Russian relations are rooted in a very long history of solidarity and mutual respect. This relationship is now evolving into a modern partnership centered on trade, investment, technology, education, and more importantly, shared prosperity. I hope that you guys have productive discussions which will translate into concrete economic projects. God bless you all. Thank you very much.
Ladies and gentlemen, a hand of applause. Honorable Professor Kitila Nkumbu, MP, mabibi na mabwana. After that address, ladies and gentlemen, we would like to invite to the stage with great gusto wa Tanzania wenzangu, naomba tumpigie makofi yaliyoshiba kabisa akaende arudi na kuhadithia. Ladies and gentlemen, with a Tanzanian round of applause to the stage, Honorable Maxim Reshetnikov, the Minister of Economic Development of the Russian Federation. Karibu sana.
Дорогие друзья, рад всех приветствовать. Я буду говорить на русском, чтобы тот синхронный перевод, который у нас есть, не простаивал. Во-первых, позвольте мне поприветствовать моего коллегу, господина Китила Мкумба, министра, руководителя президентского офиса по планированию Республики Танзания, с которым мы уже в третий раз проводим этот замечательный механизм межправительственной комиссии. И отдельные слова приветствия уважаемому Махмуду Комба, министру иностранных дел Республики Танзания, кто придал нашей встрече такой еще более масштабный межминистерский характер и кто действительно помогает нам продвигать наше сотрудничество в практических таких вещах, потому что, конечно, присутствие МИДа всегда усиливает любого экономического министра, любую экономическую повестку. Отдельные слова приветствия нашим уважаемым послам, послу Танзании в России, господине Китула, и уважаемому господину послу России в Танзании, господину Аветисяну. Дорогие друзья, мы очень ценим ту большую работу, которую вы ведете, и очень важно ваше присутствие здесь. За организацию форума хочу поблагодарить команду правительства Танзании, Российский экспортный центр, Росконгресс, кто действительно много вложил в организацию этого форума. Всех участников за рабочий настрой, готовность развивать сотрудничество. Я знаю, что и российские участники, понятно, проделали большой путь, и многие танзанийские участники тоже приехали сюда. И мне кажется, очень важно, что мы здесь именно в Аруше, в городе, которым гордятся в Танзании, который вызывает восхищение тем огромным трудом, который здесь создан, эту большую инфраструктуру, в том числе и для приема туризма, которая здесь существует. Но я, может быть, не очень соглашусь здесь с господином министром, кто сказал, что здесь туризм начинается и здесь заканчивается. Мне кажется, в Танзании любая точка – это точка для туризма. И Занзибар, и Дар-ар-Салам, и есть территории туда дальше, к югу. В общем, здесь действительно безумно интересная страна и очень гостеприимная. Недаром нас связывают давние деловые дружеские отношения. Это, конечно, тот фундамент, на котором мы 2 года назад перезагрузили нашу повестку, нашу работу, когда наши президенты договорились создать межправкомиссию для того, чтобы мы в постоянном режиме развивали сотрудничество и решали все те вопросы, которые возникают, потому что стало понятно, что сотрудничество растет, оно усложняется, все больше министерств, все больше бизнеса, все больше сложных таких вопросов, и поэтому была создана вот эта комиссия, которую мы сегодня у нас прошла узкая часть, завтра будет большая, расширенная часть, которая в результате собрала в повестку все вопросы от разных министерств, включились институты развития, бизнес, банки, вузы, но, конечно, главное это компании. Именно взаимный интерес бизнеса к сотрудничеству и к поиску новых рынков и проектов задал тот темп, на который мы сегодня вышли, и, наверное, не проходит ни года, когда не возникали бы новые, с одной стороны, вызовы, а с другой стороны, новые возможности для развития. И та ситуация, которая сегодня складывается в мире, и действия разных стран, они подчеркивают, насколько важно выстраивать вот это независимое независимое от третьих стран сотрудничество в интересах народов, и это можно сделать только вот выстраивать такое взаимно уважительное сотрудничество и каждый раз занимаясь этой повесткой. В прошлом году был обновлен рекорд по объему торговли между нашими странами. У нас действительно неплохие темпы роста, плюс 20%. Но, наверное, мало кто скажет, что это весь тот потенциал, который у нас есть. Мы действительно видим, насколько развивается танзанийская экономика, насколько растет производство товаров. Готовы к этому, российский бизнес готов к этому прикладывать руку, участвовать в этом, помогать. Ну и, конечно, открывать наш рынок, потому что, подчеркну, Российская Федерация заинтересована в сбалансированной торговле со своими партнерами. И в этом плане